Well, good afternoon. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. It's Sunday, August 27th, and this is the 3 p.m. update on the tropics. It is pretty active out there right now. We have two systems that we're monitoring very closely in GeoCollaborate for the Fleet Response Working Group, the All Hazards Consortium Sensitive Information Sharing Environment. And the first one that I want to mention is well out to the Atlantic Ocean. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but Hurricane Franklin is expected to intensify into a major hurricane, and that will generate wave action along the East Coast. That's going to produce some dangerous rip currents, and those rip currents may not be seen very easily as you get into the beaches and go swimming. So please, the advice here is to only swim around where there are lifeguards, and do not let kids or adults go swimming alone. Do not swim alone. Swim with a buddy and have somebody watching you all the time from the shoreline. These rip currents can be quite strong, and when we have Franklin out there that could become a major hurricane over the next couple of days, that could produce some deadly rip currents. So I'm going to turn my attention now to looking at the cone here. You can see we now have Tropical Storm Idalia. Idalia has 40-mile-per-hour winds. A Hurricane Hunter reconnaissance aircraft flew into the storm earlier today, found tropical storm force winds, and now we have Idalia. Idalia is expected to intensify. It's over very warm Caribbean water temperatures. 90 degrees in some places, and even as it enters the Gulf of Mexico over the next couple of days, the temperatures are above 90 degrees. So what I want to show you here is I'm going to show you a satellite picture first. This is the GOES high-resolution satellite operated by NOAA. You can see that spin in the atmosphere. There's a low-level spin. And some of the major storms or growing storms are to the east of the center. But it is expected that Idalia is going to start to get its act together over the next couple of days here. It certainly has warm enough sea surface temperatures to work with, and you can see that distinct spin. So there are tropical storm force conditions being experienced over the eastern Yucatan Peninsula around Cancun and also over western Cuba. So there are tropical storm warnings in effect there. I'll widen out here to GeoCollaborate, and I'll move the map around just a little bit to show you what's happening. We'll move it over here, and you can see this area right here is the radius of maximum winds of Idalia right now, 40 miles per hour. And you can see the forecast cone, which has it impacting the state of Florida by the Tuesday, by the 30th, and the winds on the hurricane are expected to be about 90 miles per hour. That's a Category 1 hurricane. Category 2 starts at 96 miles per hour, but I think we need to monitor this storm very, very closely, as we normally do. But this storm could intensify rapidly in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, and any change in its angle of approach to Florida could mean a drastic change in where the storm makes landfall. So I want to make sure that those of you watching in Tampa, Sarasota, and even down to Fort Myers, all the way around to the Florida Panhandle, pay very close attention to this storm. If you're working in the utility industry, I'm sure everybody will be standing by here. The governor of Florida has declared a state of emergency for 33 counties along the Gulf Coast of Florida, and that will continue until the storm actually makes landfall. What I'm going to do here is zoom in just a little bit so you can see. I want to turn on a couple of different data sets here, and those data sets will help us understand when we expect those tropical storm force winds to arrive. I have a data layer here for tropical storm wind probabilities, and as I turn that on, you can see the different colors. Wherever you see in the middle here, those oranges and red colors, that's a very high probability that these areas will see tropical storm force winds. And even out over here approaching Tampa and St. Petersburg, there's a 50 to 60% chance that tropical storm force winds will impact the Tampa area. And that is during the day, late on Monday into Tuesday. But even if we extend further to the east, Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Punta Gorda, those places are still have the probability of 20 to 30% that you'll see tropical storm force winds. So we're going to be watching this very, very closely. The other thing I'd like to give you is an idea on timing. When are the tropical storm force winds likely to hit land? When are they expected to hit the peninsula of Florida? And we can display those probability or those times, those estimates for tropical storm force winds. So this is the earliest reasonable time for tropical storm force winds to arrive. And I can turn off the wind probabilities so we can see these times a little bit more clearly. So this is Monday at 8 p.m. here. Tropical storm force winds could be approaching Key West and the Keys. So that's Monday at 8 p.m. Overnight Monday into Tuesday morning, tropical storm force winds will be making their way up the coast as the storm approaches. Now, keep in mind, this could change as the size of the storm changes, as it grows in intensity. Just keep, this is a first look at when these tropical storm force winds may arrive. Tuesday by 8 a.m., so Tuesday morning, we're talking about tropical storm force winds entering the Tampa and St. Pete area. So 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, that's when tropical storm force winds could arrive. That's when they'll close bridges that are exposed to winds. And then by Tuesday at 8 p.m., tropical storm force winds could be well inland if this forecast holds. Again, this timeline could change depending on how fast or how slow the storm moves. This is the initial look at when these winds could arrive. All of these colors that you see in the counties here, these are all advisories for special weather statements dealing with the heat and dealing with potential fires in Louisiana. There's an excessive heat warning in Mississippi and parts of Alabama as well. And in Louisiana, they're seeing some major wildfires going on there. But as far as Idalia is concerned, this is the latest information. We'll be giving you updates again tomorrow morning, late morning or early afternoon, and then we'll step those up likely in frequency as the storm gets its act together and we have a better idea as to where it is going to move. The official forecast for the National Hurricane Center, this is the cone of uncertainty, which means that the center of the storm could move anywhere in this cone, which means the impacts will be far beyond this cone. I'll widen out a little bit here. The impacts of a tropical system go far beyond the cone. The cone is not an estimate of damage. It is just an estimate of the probability of where the center of the storm could move. You could have damage hundreds of miles away from the storm. So we'll be keeping you posted. That's the way it looks right now. I'm Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. The next update will be tomorrow, probably about the same time, unless conditions change drastically. The one thing we'll be watching is the intensification of this storm over very warm waters. We're monitoring NOAA ocean buoys. We're monitoring gliders that are going up and down in the ocean, taking measurements and readings. We're monitoring drifter buoys that are feeding back real-time information, and also sail drones. There's a sail drone that's in the Gulf of Mexico that could be right in line with the forecast path of Idalia. And if it becomes a hurricane, we should get some tremendous data from these sail drones. They're uncrewed vehicles that look like big surfboards with sails on them, but they're taking lots of weather measurements. So that's it for right now. We'll be keeping you updated, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow about the same time. Make sure you have your hurricane plan in place if you're in Florida. And there is no reported mutual assistance movement of any fleet utility vehicles as of yet. That's one of the things we'll be monitoring as well, so utility vehicles can arrive and get power restored much quicker. So that's it for now. We'll talk to you tomorrow.